Good morning. Joe Volpe, publisher of the Corriere Canadese, North America's only Italian language daily newspaper, on behalf of Go Live and Corcan Media Group to talk about issues related to the 2018 municipal elections, this time in Toronto. And I have with me a very special guest, longtime councillor and candidate for this next election again. And I speak of Maria Augimeri. Maria Augimeri, you're the councillor, existing councillor, for Ward 9. Now we're going to talk about that in a minute. But you're also going to be challenging in order to have Ward 10 as part of the project as well, although we don't know that.
We don't know that for sure.
But for sure, you're the councillor for Ward 9.
Yes,
so,
I am.
Maria, thanks a lot for coming. That's the first thing.
It's my pleasure to be here.
Now, I've known you for a long time. You've been at this for quite some time.
I have.
And people often say, what does a city councillor do? Like,
What don't we do?
Well, tell me a couple of things that you do.
One of the reasons that so many of us are saying that we should not be in the same number of proscribed ridings as the federal and provincial ridings is that we do so much more handiwork. For example, your garbage doesn't get picked up. You call your councillor. Your snow removal is unsatisfactory. You call your councillor. You want a stop sign. You call your councillor. The sidewalk is cracked. You call your councillor. There are so many on the ground.
But didn't you, as a collective group, put in a system where you
call the
311
group. Yes, you're right, we did. People haven't grasped onto the fact that they want to speak to automatons and get a numeric file for their application for assistance. They want to speak to the councillor. They want to meet with a councillor, and that's what we do.
So
we meet one-on-one.
But they want to talk to you.
They do. They do, and that's why most of us work every night of the week, and I go to 2-3 meetings a night, and Saturdays and Sundays. There's no respite for us. We're out there at people's doors, in their garage, on their sidewalks.
Well, you're especially in the garages now because they're doing all the tomatoes out in that.
The tomatoes, zucchini. Yesterday I had a wonderful whiff of Merlot grapes in a gentleman's.
Because they're starting the wine.
That's
right. Still happening.
It's beautiful.
So people don't know exactly where Ward 9 is. Why don't we just have a quick description of what
Well,
it is?
basically, and roughly it runs from the 401 going north to Grand Ravine Drive, and from Jane Street all the way over to the Allen Expressway. It is the most Italian area in Toronto.
That's why you've got wine, tomatoes, zucchini.
We have everything. And we have vegetable contests too that we're very proud of.
Yeah, but that's not part of the job of a councillor.
No, but the councillor, to give you an idea, the councillor is involved in so many things that the federal member, as you were once regarded very well in the community. Thank you very much. Thank you. You're in Ottawa most of the time. The MPPs are at Queen's Park. They don't expect you to attend a daily routine matter. They expect us at the door.
So does that include places like York University used to be part of Ward 9?
York University used to be part of the Downsy area that I represented, yes. It was one of the largest areas, actually. I had about 90,000 constituents.
Who moved back and forth in that area?
That's right.
So I was associated with the school Cardinal McGuigan at the time, and I think
I remember.
You were the counselor.
I remember.
When we were trying to build that place.
Yes.
Well, you were very helpful, so I think I knew a little bit about what's going on.
You were very helpful.
Well, I don't, I was just setting the school up, but you were the one that were giving the permits and giving people an opportunity.
Yeah, institutions such as schools, any kind of educational institution, such as hospitals, they need special favors. They can't be regarded as a typical developer. They need a special touch. They need someone at City Hall that understands them.
So now you've built a hospital.
The GTA's largest hospital, 655 beds, is on Wilson near Keele. We're very proud of it. It's still growing, but we're very, very proud of it. Right. And it wouldn't have happened. At the 11th hour, it was supposed to go to Woodbridge because people didn't understand how the traffic and transportation problems would work in the community. So George Smitherman and I sat down and made it happen at the 11th hour. George was the Minister of Infrastructure at the time.
Okay.
It was that ministry that took it over.
So they took it over, but the decisions were made by the Ministry of Health in order to regionalize health care services, especially as they were emanating from hospitals.
They do things at that hospital that are not done as well anywhere else in the world.
That's because
one is bariatrics, and it's a special operation for the obese, so they're making people's lives more livable and healthier. And the other is hip replacement surgery. There's a Dr. Rodriguez there who does a robotic hip replacement. If you have both your hips done, you're up and walking within 48 hours.
So, Maria, let's just say that you are part and parcel of having that hospital there when all the people in Woodbridge hate you because instead of going there, it came over to Wilson and Keele. Now, I don't know how many people will want to give you credit for it because, you know, whenever there's credit to go around, you know,
It's
everybody,
spread out.
it spreads
Yeah.
out really thinly,
Yes,
really
yes.
quickly. So we know that counselors like you get involved at the project licensing stage in order to allow some structures to be put up and in order to allow whoever, you call them builders, you call them developers, whatever, if they get a license, then others get to work. Like people right beside that are from Local 183, Leona.
That's right.
They're right there.
That's
they
right.
must have been the biggest backers of.
That's right. That's right. And Local 506 as well.
Well, they're just up the street.
Yes, 506 is big in my area as well because they're at Chesswood and Shepherd.
But they would have had a big part of that
Yes,
contract.
they have.
There's nothing
They
wrong
have
with that.
had. No, it's
But they also
wonderful.
would have
People
had-
work
but they
because
also
of
would
the
have had-
libraries that we've built, the parks that we've built,
But
and
let's,
the
let's
hospital.
let's take them one at a time. So we talked about the hospital for a second. We talked for a moment about York University. Now, York University was the beneficiary of one big subway station. So you were two. Thank you very much for correcting me. That's not good, though. You're correcting the interviewer.
Okay.
But you were very much a part of the transportation committee at Toronto City Council, but you were also the chairman of the TTC at one point.
That's right.
Am I right?
That's right. I was a big booster of the York University subway, we called it at the time, because it wasn't envisioned at that time that it would go beyond the borders of Toronto. So we
But
still
it wasn't even going to come down along Shepherd initially. You know.
No, it was a real change that the government, the provincial government, made at the time, because I remember a former mayor, Lassman, didn't necessarily want it to go to York, and he wasn't a booster of that particular alignment. So
And I remember a former federal cabinet minister who was.
Yes.
You probably know who I'm talking about, but we won't mention names. However, you know, the fact that you're a part of that, you got 2 subway stations
in
your
my ward and 2 at York University. That's 4 in the Downsview area. Very important, and it will be a game changer in the future because there are 1,000 acres of land that some people want to develop to the hilt in Downsview now, in my ward
So
now.
no, but hold on. Well, why don't we talk about that in a minute? But first of all, you know, because we're talking about some of the positive things that happen around certain individuals. And what I'm getting from that, and I don't know whether any of our viewers are looking at the same thing, but that if you've got somebody who's interested, some things can happen.
A lot of the counselors do our work behind the scenes. We're not out there blowing our own horns about announcements. Usually the people at the top get to make the announcements, but it's the counselor behind the scenes that does the midnight work.
Yeah, but I've got to take you there for a moment, you know, before we talk about that one big thing that I'd like to talk about, if you don't mind. But there are a lot of other people, that's the topic of discussion today everywhere, that your council in particular, Toronto City Council, is dysfunctional.
Oh, I don't believe that for a minute.
Well, they're presenting legislation. They did Bill 5 and now Bill 31. I watched some of it because I'm crazy during the middle of the night. You know, the discussion is...
Do you call the federal government dysfunctional because people yell across the aisle? Do you call the provincial government dysfunctional because people are arrested in the galleries? There are people voicing their opinions. We're not dysfunctional. I take great pride in being a Canadian, an Ontarian, a Torontonian, because I'm able to sit in a chamber where someone could come and express ideas, and that's the ideal of democracy, and I'm so proud of it. And I hate to see it trampled.
But municipal politics isn't so much about the concept and ideology of democracy as it is about
It's
what you're
democracy in action.
Well, you know, that's a nice little phrase.
But
for
it
you to use.
is.
It's, you know, my
And we're
view-
full of action.
my view is that you've got to fix the sidewalks, fill up those streets so that none of those crevices ruin my car, make sure the police is doing its tour of duty, and make sure the fire department is, is functional.
Those are the nuts and bolts, and I agree. But there's something else that City Council does above the nuts and bolts, and it sets a tone, and it sets an agenda. And is the agenda to provide more social housing, to request adequate funding from the federal and provincial governments to provide that social housing, to decide where rapid transit is to be situated, and to ensure that there's public engagement?
Can't be just in your ward. It's got to be someplace else.
Of course.
It's got to go across boundaries.
And we are right now, where the Eglinton Crosstown is crossing the town, crossing Toronto, and it's going to be wonderful.
So what do you have to trade off as a councillor like you? I mean, you've got lots of experience. What kind of trade-offs do you have to make in order to get, or what does somebody has to trade off to you in order to get that Eglinton Crosstown?
I've been the chair of North York Community Council for over 15 years. So I represent a wide spectrum of interests, from the outer corners of North York, coming all the way from Don Valley and to Etobicoke and the center. I have seen all the development applications. They've gone through me. I've seen all the parks applications. They've gone through me. And I understand the breadth of a big city like North York.
So that used to have about 550,000 inhabitants, so it's not a small place.
That's right. And I'm very proud that I'm the chair of that community council, and that people, I run unopposed because the councillors trust that I will keep order. The councillors trust that I will treat their agenda items with significance.
But you're going to need some of that trust now. I'm going to see if the guys will, if you'll bring up that the picture of the development up on Downsview. So I want to take advantage of the fact
that
you're
any
here.
City in Canada, does any city have 1,000 acres of land that people are ready to pounce on? We're going to need a councillor there who can be trusted, who is experienced, who is professional, and knows the ins and outs of development.
Well, so no, I see that I can say you're always well prepped, but obviously you've thought this through. So let me frame it for everybody who's watching here. So we're talking about Downsview, the old Downsview, de Havilland Airport. It's been known by all kinds of things. Bombardier used to assemble, used to paint. No, they used to send it off for painting, but they did all kinds of things.
Still do.
Well, they have, 5,000 people working in that area? So, but recently they sold that property. You and I talked about this at one point. They sold it for just over $800 million. That's a lot of cash. That thing's not, there's no way that property is worth $800 million.
Right, and my understanding is that the federal government thought it was worth about $200 million.
Well, you take a look and you divide the overall number by the overall acreage. And
that's right.
And it's still a considerable amount of money.
It
$3,
is.
maybe $4 million, but not $8 per acre. So the pressures are going to be on there to have huge condo and housing developments. But
huge developments of every kind.
But you've proposed something else. If you can bring that thing back up again.
Let me state initially, Joe, that the 1,000 acres I was talking about is a combination of the former Bombardier lands and Canada lands owned by the federal government.
The old Downsview Park.
That's right. That is 1,000 acres together. Those two pieces of land have to be managed really well, so that we don't Manhattanize Downsview.
Yeah, so
we don't want 80-story buildings all over the place.
So if I can just turn your attention over here. So
okay, so that was...
So the part in red there with the cross, what's that?
That's my vision for Keele and Shepherd. Federal government was going to sell off that area and build about 4,000 apartments. We're saying no. The community has always said no. Move those apartments over to the subway station. There is nothing near the subway station. I think one person a day uses it. What a waste of money.
So
this
is a promotion for municipal councilors, because the federal government, if they actually put on their thinking cap, would have said what you just said. But,
Absolutely.
No, but the federal government doesn't think, right? It just says, here's the project, go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't want to make light of that.
You know more than I do about the federal government.
Okay, so let's go back to that picture there.
So we're saying move the people over, move the developments over to where the subway stations are. Makes sense, good planning sense. People will use the subway. Less automation, less reliance on the car. Exactly. So
now, intensification, what's that, by the way?
Intensification means a lot of building centered in one specific area. So what I'm saying instead,
apartments, basically.
What I'm saying instead, see the blue there, the
yes.
seniors campus. And this was my idea that I brought to the feds, and they think it's a great idea. What about 300 to 500 nursing home residents
in that
there?
top blue area,
yes.
over to the right.
Yes.
Okay.
Which is from in the Grand Ravine area off of Kiel. Our seniors are in the corridors of hospitals now. They have no place to go, no place at all. We need the ability to build seniors care there. Federal government has said they will give us that land at a reduced cost, and a very reduced cost, plus they will give us the money for this beautiful community center.
This is an artist's rendition.
And this is from Canada Lands. Canada Lands has been very helpful working with me for the past couple of years, by the way.
This is sort of the initial plan that you
That's right.
So how much is it going to cost? So you're saying they're going to give you money?
Federal government, and as I understand through our MP Michael Levitt, and that's the aquatic center on the left there, would give about $40 million for this, but the province and the city would have to hop on with a vastly reduced number of dollars. They don't have to match it to make this project a reality.
Forego the municipal taxes?
However, it would be a city-run programming in the end, so the city would take on the operational dollars, and that's considerable. That is a considerable part of it.
The federal government will build it for you.
That's right.
This is rough language. They'll build it for you.
That's right.
The provincial government has to put in some money.
Yes.
Because they can't,
And the last government did announce it in their closing days, the waning days of the legislature. So we need this provincial government now to reiterate that it is a priority.
Now, how much were they going to put in?
I think it was less than 20 million that was announced.
So it's like 2 to 1. So the feds
Yeah.
at 40 and the provincial government at roughly 20. I won't hold you to the exact number.
Probably closer to 16.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's about $56 million. So $56 million is what a city councilor with experience can get for her or his, in your case it's a her, constituents in order to provide long-range service.
Working hard, working nights, working behind the scenes.
But you're also going to put the city on the hook for maintaining that.
That's right.
But that going on the hook for
We
that.
don't have an aquatic center, an indoor aquatic center in the west end of North York. This is going to be it. We've been waiting for years. So I'm pouncing on it.
You're also adding on to that, what did you say, 350? No, it's 650. Which one is it? 350 geriatric...
I would like to have a campus, a seniors campus, liaised with our Humber River Hospital.
Which is only a kilometer and a half down the street.
That's right. So there are 3 geriatric specialists working with me on the center, on the seniors center, sent by the CEO of the hospital.
So, Maria, we're getting on in the program. So you've talked about subways, talked about hospitals, now you're talking about community geriatric center. Do you have anything for young people?
Yes.
Like what?
The community center is going to be for the young and old alike. Also, I have in the plans for Shepherd and Kiel another 100 places for childcare. Libraries is one of the most important things that we do.
Because schools aren't working, they're not teaching the kids how to read. I mean, I've
so
read
libraries,
the results.
Libraries are important. So I made sure, one of the first things I did as a counselor is I set to work, and it took a decade, but I did it. I built a new award-winning library in the most sensitive, needy area of my ward, Jane and Shepherd.
Jane and Shepherd.
Yes.
Over on the northwest corner, isn't that it? Is
No.
that where it is? Where is it?
Yes.
No, I mean, I'm just trying to think of it myself.
Yes,
Because there's St.
Northwest.
Gerard Magellan
Yes,
there,
but
St.
it's
Jerome.
a. Do you remember the old 31 Division Police Station was there?
Well, I never had
And-
occasion to visit.
Oh, come on. And I built an amphitheater there for the kids to be able to perform. So 5 schools take advantage of that. And next door we built a library with a reading garden outside. First library to have laptops for the kids. 2,000 kids in that community don't have computers at home. This is something very serious that we have to set our minds to. We need to help egalitarianize the area,
there's a new
and that's
word.
what we're doing. Yeah, I make up words. And Downsview Library, we've given a lot of money to Downsview Library through the buildings that have gone on Keel Street. You know about Section 37. It's a section of the Planning Act that I take advantage of, and almost all the money just goes to the libraries so that they can better host the community's kids, and they can be better functioning members of society because libraries give you that option.
And they also take a lot of our subscriptions on a daily basis, so they read the Corriere Canadese.
Yeah,
which
they
is
really
good.
do.
So, all right, Maria, we have to stop at this for a moment. But so all of this is happening in Ward 9. The province came along and said, you know what, we're going to apply different boundaries. We're now going to extend your boundaries and go further east. We're going to cross the Bombardier lines, and we're going to include Ward 10. Now, there's a lot of people have issues on that. I always think that if somebody's got a good track record, that they'll run anywhere, everywhere, all the time. Do you think this is a fair thing for
The provincial government has all the rights in the world to do this. So you can't blame them for it. If they think it's a better idea, it's a better idea. You just shouldn't do it in the middle of an operating campaign. It's like changing the rules of a game mid-game.
But it doesn't matter to you, though. I mean,
It
you're
doesn't matter
running
to me personally.
Yeah.
I'll take up the gauntlet. I'll take up the challenge. I'd love to do in Ward 10 what I did in Ward 9. For example, the BIA. I put in a business association in Ward 9 that's really ramping up the look of Wilson Avenue. I want to do that for Ward 10. I want to apply my skills and do for the business community in Ward 10, the small businesses, the medium-sized businesses, what I've done for Ward 9.
But do you also have an interest in developing what you've already accomplished in Ward 9 as well, right? So
I build parks, and I'm very proud of the number of parks that I've built. So I'd like to go into Ward 10 and really beautify and improve the park system there.
Well, you'll probably get a chance. And so here we are. We'll come back to, we're about the end here, Maria. So first of all, let me thank you very much for sharing this part of the morning with us. I hope it's been informative for everybody else. I know that you've got a heavy duty coming up in the next month, I guess. Having been a campaigner myself, I don't begrudge anybody the challenge that democracy forces you to go through. But Maria, you've got lots of background, lots of experience. I know you'll be convincing, and all the best. So, Joe Volpe, on behalf of Corriere Canadese, Go Live TV, Corcan Media Group, wishing everybody a good morning. We're going to try to do this in Italian, and as I said to Maria, we offer this to everybody else. So, you've been a really good sport in talking about this, and we hope that everybody will watch and watch it in Italian as well. Thank you, and have a good day.